won 5 straight sets, 4 of which were PR, and the 5th one was Snoof, who barely was not, and has been PR multiple times in the past. Now he's going to see if he can take on Frosty's Richter, which it might be a little bit trickier. Seabass has been playing fairly campier today, and it's been working well to his advantage. People have had a hard time approaching him.
I don't know the name of the player who beat Seabass and sent him to losers round. It was literally losers round 1, just for clarification, or winners round 1 for clarification's sake. That's when Seabass lost. Made this run all the way through a 100+ man ignition bracket to guaranteed 4th. But he lost to an Olimar. And Olimar is a campy character. Richter's a campy character. We might just see this wall be a little bit too much for Seabass to overcome. He's been... Cyber was the name of the Olimar player. Thank you. And we'll have to see, because he's been taking advantage of some like aggro players on aggro characters to get through the loser's bracket all the way to this point in time, right? You're fighting Mario, you're fighting Chrom, you're fighting Wolf, who can be aggro, can be campy. Fox for sure is aggro. And you can take advantage of that with Bowser's tools, like his out-of-shield punishes and just his raw damage output.
Well, right now, we're not seeing him take advantage of quite anything. Until that forward tilt, he was not even on the board for this particular game. Frosty has been zoning him out incredibly well.
That was crazy. I love watching some of these Frosty combos with all the projectiles bouncing and ping-ponging off of each other. But, okay, what are you doing, Seabass? Calm down with these Bowser bombs at just the middle of nowhere.
Well, his Bowser bomb got caught by a down air, so Frosty feeling a little spicy right now, it looks like. Seabass, the majority of his damage so far has been through 2 grabs on command grab side B. Just landing on the platform. He was looking for the shield break, as almost every Bowser always is. But that back air, drop back air, all of a sudden he's winning.
Bowser's top 10, Pete.
Get out
Bowser's
of here.
top 10 in the game. You see how dumb that was?
You were saying?
Oh wow, he died to a Richter back air at like 180.
That was an axe. He can't projectile.
Axe at 180 is better. Totally better. Bowser's nuts.
Bowser is very good. This is about as good as heavies have really ever been in this particular franchise. Over the course of history, heavyweights have always had a lot of difficulty just dealing with speed, dealing with positioning. But Bowser, man, he punishes you so hard in this game.
Yes. I mean, some people would argue, I think, that heavies in Smash 4 are the best heavies, because they were very viable if you could find their gimmicks. But, of course, they were just that. They were gimmicky. I feel like Bowser in this game is just such a more well-rounded game plan and can use the speed of the engine to his advantage just to put on crazy damage.
Well, we got a game that's staying relatively even. Frosty will win most of the neutral interactions, but that's Bowser in a nutshell. You just have to capitalize when you win the few times that you do in neutral, especially against projectile characters.
Okay, and overextending a bit on that up smash, trying to just put a little bit of extra spice on the charge there was Frosty, but not pulling the trigger in time. Just taking all the lumps that he can get out of this Bowser. No, okay, that was slick. That was slick. I like what I'm seeing.
Frosty just knows what's going to happen every time a Richter move hits an opponent better than even most Richter mains, or probably anyone, anywhere, in terms of, I'm going to do this with my projectile, and if you get hit by it, the punish will be waiting for you for maximum damage or maximum output.
And again, Bowser's a pretty big character, pretty easy to combo with, even with characters who don't have projectiles to combo every which way, and so that can make it easier for these ping-pong setups to land for Frosty. And look at that, he's trying to get the F-smash out of the axe that time. Not enough to KO, and this Bowser is getting closer and closer to death.
Yeah, I mean, it has looked like Frosty has been in control the entire time, and in a lot of ways he has been, but we're like, all right, that'll take care of it. But you were maybe a hit and a hard read away from Seabass stealing that game if Frosty didn't close it out right there and then.
We saw. That was first stock, right? It was like 175 on the Bowser, 68 on the Richter, and he just gets back air one time and dies. Yeah. That's the life you live as a Bowser player.
It was also not DI'd at all, because I don't think he was expecting platform drop insta-bear.
Yeah. That move comes out quicker than you think. It's still a little laggy, but you can sneak it out in those situations.
All right, these guys are going to go to game 2.
Carpool buddies as well, by the way. That's another fun fact.
Yes.
Frosty was telling me that after Seabass lost round 1, Frosty said, meet me all the way at the end of bracket. And you know what? He did.
He absolutely did. I was talking to Frosty about that a little bit earlier when we were around top 16. He goes, this is my carpool guy. I hope he keeps winning. Well, he did.
Carpool matchups are always fun for the bragging rights. I know that would always happen anytime Slojo was in my car, and he would just never shut up about them. Man, I gotta play my carpool. Man, this sucks. Slojo, you've been talking about it for 3 hours. We're halfway home from Michigan. Anytime I can roast Slojo is a good time to roast Slojo. That's a rule of commentary. Okay, can you not just dare off stage and almost die? But
no, he would like to, and it was relatively successful. Oh, Seabass with the hard read though with the up smash. That's another move that'll just detonate you. You can't land on Bowser safely, like really ever.
And you know, Richter has like all these combo tools, right? And he has all these just great ways to keep Bowser at bay. But his disadvantage state in trying to land against Bowser can be tricky, and that's exactly what Seabass took advantage of there to take the stock. And Kalos can really help out with that because it's, you know, FD with a couple of little sides that can help Bowser up off the ledge. So it's, you know, the best of both worlds for him.
All right, Frosty looking to maintain as much control as he can with these projectiles, but Seabass really not letting him land at all where every chance he gets to really get up in his face. He's done a great job of that, not really letting Frosty set up a wall on him.
So I feel like I knew this at one time, but the maximum amount of time... Okay, he's just dead.
Yep.
That was slick. The maximum amount of times that Richter can bounce off your shield with the down air is 2, right? Is that true?
I don't know. It might depend on like the direction they go.
Oh, I'm going to ask you.
All right, well, Sturm gets that information. Frosty's going to pop through that holy water, not quite going to get as much as he wanted off of that. But Seabass having a real hard time finishing off Frosty's second stock. He's been conditioning him as much, I think, as he can. Oh, wow, that reached so far below ledge, but Bowser going to live. Bowser's a big boy. Frosty just with the excellent conditioning throughout this game, trying to force Seabass to stay at particular points near the platforms, and he's starting to change up his projectile game to take full advantage of that. What was the verdict?
You can do it as many times as you want according to Crash Gear, but the thing is, it's just, since it's the mix-up for your aerial drift, it gets kind of predictable after a amount of time, so you never really see it more than 2. Okay. Holy Cross for the save. Very scary position, actually relieved a bunch by that projectile, but now Seabass fighting his way back into this corner.
Yep. Seabass was down by a ton, and as Bowser can do, which is scary, he catches you twice in neutral, you're at 85. That is a lot of damage against the character that can kill you with 5 different moves.
Oh, and he might be dead,
and
yes!
Catches him with the forward smash. That was actually a little bit of the lag on the forward smash with the charge up. Made Frosty think that he would have time to escape and spot dodge, and it just catches the spot dodge and kicks him right in the face.
Frosty's drifting with those up Bs, because sometimes you know, put the fear of saying, if you touch my shield one time, I'm going to up B you and you're going to take damage, right? So that's why Frosty's been kind of aggressive with those. And his drifting has been more or less pretty good in these first 2 games. That's the first time he's been super punished for his drift out of the vulnerability of the up B. So good on Seabass to make sure that punish lands, and that's worth a game.
Yeah, that's the most important time to land that punish too. So him really letting Frosty think he can get away with it every time, working out pretty well in his favor. Now we're gonna go to Smashville. Pretty good choice against Bowser. You wouldn't think so, especially since Richter's a projectile character, but Richter has a really hard time actually killing Bowser, unlike most characters in the game, just because of his weight. So when you get those kill confirms at 80, at 90, where you get like Axe to forward smash or Holy Water forward smash, you want to make damn sure that stock goes away. Because if Bowser comes back on you, he will eventually kill you with some kind of crazy... You know, we saw forward smash last game, we saw the back air game 1. There's a lot of options that can just steal early stocks.
And just Richter, all of his moves take up half of this stage. You fair, that's half of Smashville. Maybe a third of Smashville. Maybe I'm being a little bit aggressive there in my estimation. But they're just so big, and there's nowhere to run, especially for a big body on this stage versus things like the forward air, versus things like the back air. Forward tilt even takes up a ton of room. But now Seabass has control of the stage, and this is what he needs to take advantage of here, is now all of a sudden there's no room to run for Richter.
Yeah, this is actually very volatile on Smashville, which might be why Frosty picked it. He probably has a lot of faith in his own ability to win neutral enough times to kill Bowser faster, because that is kind of the way these 2 games have gone, where Seabass will be at a high percentage and he'll go, read, kill you.
Okay, that was good. That was as much room as Frosty needed to stay away from the Bowser, because you saw that Frosty used his directional air dodge to try and just sneak away from the right side and return his momentum towards the center stage, but Bowser is in the perfect position to make sure there's no recovery option at all. And that's exactly what you got to do versus Richter, of course.
Another difficult thing for Richter is that when you catch most opponents on ledge and you throw out your projectiles, you know that if they get back to ledge and they predict which projectile you're going to throw out when they're edge guarding you, there's enough lag to where you could usually punish him with some kind of hit. Bowser hitting you is much different than most characters hitting you in that punish, which is something that's been working really well in Seabass's favor across the board as he takes the lead in this game 3.
Yeah, that drop down forward air, classic Bowser tech. And oh, okay, I thought that B reverse fire breath, he might have actually fallen a little too far, but there you go. Everyone's living.
The shield just barely didn't break.
I think because that was a perfectly full shield, it didn't break.
Yeah, it didn't break.
Any less and he was dead. Well, not dead, but you were going to eat a giant punish.
Shield break, Bowser, I think he needs to be at like 20 to kill him on Smashville with a full charge forward smash.
Oh, he might have been at 20.
It's actually that low.
And even then, you could probably just edge guard the Richter afterwards. It doesn't fail. That's so a really, really scary spot that Frosty's still alive from. And now getting a stock of his own. Shield pressure from halfway across Smashville because, again, Richter's moves are gigantic. And Bowser's shield's very small compared to his body size.
Yeah, something that... Great balance decisions, honestly, for this game. Everything that you just said is very good because Richter really can't recover very well. Only has limited like angles and directions he can hit people at, which is great for flavor for Castlevania. And Bowser, if he had a great shield, he would probably be one of the best characters in the game. So, ooh, he caught him with the fire breath. Ooh. Oh, he didn't get the.
But that's a good trade.
What?
I think that was back air.
That had to be back air. If that bomb would have hit where he was over the ledge and was to grab ledge, the hitbox from the Bowser bomb can spike the Richter's recovery, which is what he was going for. So Seabass, 2-1 lead on Frosty as he continues his potential run here.
Bowser's top 10.
Stop that.
Bowser is top 10.
There are so many good characters in this game.
Why does his down B spike? Give Yoshi's down B a spike.
I'd be fine
Sakurai, you coward.
I'd be fine with Yoshi's down air having, or down B having a spike, and I'd be fine with Yoshi's having a Zair. I feel the character needs both things.
Yoshi's Zair would be the truth. Although the recent complaints from the Yoshi metaverse is that the C-stick aerial drift, you know how you try to use a C-stick aerial and it'll push you forwards? There's some people who are saying, that makes Yoshi unviable. I'm like, it doesn't, because you can counteract it. But yes, it is very annoying.
Frosty was trying to bait Seabass into playing Jigglypuff, and he picked Joker. So this is going to be a very different game.
Oh yeah, you've seen the Frosty Joker.
I have.
Tell me about it.
Frosty Joker is incredibly kind of campy. It's similar to like the way you would think that Richter would play. He does a lot of tricks with the guns, and when he catches you because you get close to him, he can get some really solid conversions. Weirdly enough, from what I've seen of Frosty's Joker, you'd think his Arsene would be like really, really good because it's, you know, Joker Arsene. I think if his character, like his actual ability needs to be improved, it's when he has Arsene. Although against Bowser, it's going to mask a lot of that because big
you can just kind of goof on Bowser with Arsene in play. But all right, so far so good here for Frosty. And like you said, he played in campy. Now he's throwing out the Agons. He opened up the game with like 9 gun shots just from center stage, as a campy player would. But these counters are coming in the clutch so far for Frosty.
Yeah, this character really allows Frosty to show off the fact that, like, hey, I too can be fairly aggressive when I want to be. Hey, I too can play quick characters and I don't need to just rely on projectiles. A lot of people forget he was a Bayo man in Smash 4, so he knows what it's like to have a character that just has consistent, like, combos. As I'm really surprised he jumped into that, since Seabass has just kind of been throwing Bowser Bomb to ledge all day.
I'm already a fan of this Joker because it has grapple combos. Grapple combos are the best part of Joker, if you ask me.
Grapple combos are the coolest part of Joker. Although I've been struggling to find actual weaknesses of this character as of late. Like, the more I watch him get played, I figured he was light, and he's just not.
His recovery is not that bad. Like, people were like, okay, he's got a grapple recovery, tether recovery. That's pretty good in this game. The Arsene recovery actually may be slightly weaker if you're proficient at your 2 frames. And even then, you don't need to be the best 2-framer to 2-frame it because it does poke up above the ledge a little bit. Okay, dare combos.
Yeah, I would definitely argue that if Grappling Hook was permanent through Arsene, Joker might be the best character, period, in the game, because he wouldn't even have the recovery weakness like that.
Well, the presence of Bowser there made him have to pull the trigger a little bit early, and that just cost you.
So he gets the up throw up air, chain some more up airs, misses the grapple to continue the combo. It looks cool, but that only did 22%, that whole thing. Meanwhile, Bowser's a little bit of fire breath is going to do more than that.
Well, you really want to try to get these AHAs started, right? Because they add on like 10, 12% each. I think it's 10% before when you're not in Arsene form, and then it's 20% with. So it's pretty good damage if you can get that started and then get a combo going, and that's when Joker's numbers really start to rack up on this combo game.
All right, so Bowser's starting to rack up some damage here. Seabass looking for a way in.
Okay, I love that trying to fall fair one combo, but not fooled at all so far is Seabass. Now he's on the stage.
Well, now you're on tournament stock, and Bowser's back here to 83, so he's actually in probably a worse place, I would argue, than Seabass.
If Seabass can wait out the Arsene, he's going to actually be in great shape, but he's got to wait that out, and that's easier said than done, because look at that. That didn't even look that strong.
Killed him.
We've done it.
He's Bowser. Wait, you didn't even...
Center stage, 130 with Joker back there. I mean, that move is nuts.
It was 120. What? Yeah, Joker's crazy. Joker just thieves games, which, again,
appropriate
flavor.
I mean, these are the two thieviest of game thievers, which is totally a word. That is absolutely a word I just said.
Well, now we won't be on Smash Bros. This is Seabass's counter pick, and that game was very, very close. So we are going to go to FD. That's risky, I feel like. This is pretty much saying, Frosty, do you have the ability to get all of the crazy combos that you can get early? Can you do drag down up airs? You know, can you do grapple bend combos? Because Joker can just drag down up air into regrab for like ever and ever on Bowser.
I want to say Seabass plays comfortably on Final Destination, because we saw him counter pick to Kalos earlier as well. Very similar stage. Does have those platforms on the side, which I think can help alleviate some pressure, but also sometimes we would see the Richter Belmont get really interesting catches. Okay, speaking of interesting catches, you tried to go high? Out of here.
I think Arsene came back and it surprised him, like he was trying to whip the stage, so he flew past where the stage would go.
Oh, no.
And the air dodge. Now all of a sudden, Seabass is way, way up in this game 5 on his counter pick. Everything working in his favor all of a sudden. Frosty's going to need to pull a rabbit out of the proverbial hat.
That's not a rabbit.
That's not going to happen. That's not a hat. That's not a rabbit. That's a victory for Seabass as he's going to make his way to Losers Finals as he eliminates Frosty on his continual tear of our current power rankings.
That is Seabass's 5th PR win of the day.
4th.
5th.
Snoof didn't quite.
No, without Snoof, it's 5.
Big Mac.
Snoof would have been the 5th.